So Sheriff Ray Nash here. I'm coming to you from my little hooch here at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan, and I'm just a couple days away from leaving here after over 3 years as part of this international police reform effort and coming home, as many of you know, to run for Congress. And as crazy an idea as that sounds, I know a lot of people have to be asking, well, why in the world would you decide to do something crazy like that, particularly with such a crowded field of potential candidates? And I guess the best way I can explain it to you is that I've been sitting here in my little hooch watching the news on the Armed Forces Network here, and just, you know, day after day after day, I just see these continual attacks on our constitutional freedoms and on the basic principles and standards that our founding fathers established this country on and made it so great for so many decades and centuries now. And I saw it being whittled away, and especially since this last election in November, really have seen this agenda that's being promoted just to continually not just whittle away, but absolutely, you know, take an axe to these constitutional principles and freedoms, to the point that I genuinely became concerned that whenever I did get back home, I might not recognize my country anymore. And then after some encouragement from some friends and a period of prayerful consideration along with my wife, we decided that I was in a position to do something about it. That this is just one of those perfect storms where the circumstances were right, where I could actually curtail my mission here, leave here early, come home, run full time, you know, for this seat very aggressively during the 7 weeks between now and the primary, and then beyond, of course, as we go into runoff and the special general election. But at any rate, there was a very unique opportunity to do this, but I had to move very, very fast. And so we're committed. I mean, we're committed to doing this. I'm quitting my job here. I'm coming home. I'm excited about coming home. I'm not really excited about being unemployed, quite frankly. But it's kind of like the old story about you know, having bacon and eggs for breakfast. You know, the chicken was dedicated, but the pig was committed. So we're committed to this thing. My family and I are willing to take this risk and to come home because we believe so strongly in the cause. And when you look at all the different crises that we have, I mean, you know, my background is law enforcement. I've been a sheriff, I've been a police chief, I've been in professional law enforcement for over 30 years now. And, you know, when you have a crisis, when you have some type of a huge problem, you dial 911 and you call the police. And a police officer or deputy sheriff arrives. Well, we're in a crisis. We are in an absolute crisis in this country. In fact, we have multiple crises going on simultaneously in this country, and they almost all of them have one thing in common, and that's a violation of some basic constitutional principle. And so that's what I'm all about, is being the voice. Yeah, I know Congressman only has one vote, but I have a loud voice to stand for these things. I've been in this type of business before. In other words, I've had to stand toe-to-toe with numerous different types of adversaries. You know, whether it be a criminal on the street, or whether it be a lawyer, or whether it be a politician, or whatever. I'm accustomed to making a stand. That's in my DNA. And I'm willing to be that strong voice for conservative constitutional principles there in Congress, if you should see fit to elect me there in the 1st District of South Carolina. And when you start looking at all these constitutional crises that we have, and all of them, I think, by and large, maybe some exceptions, but most of them can be traced back to a violation of this some constitutional principle. But really, I need your vote. I need your vote. I need your support. I need your encouragement if we're going to make this thing happen. You know, Thomas Jefferson said, you know, bind them down from mischief with the chains of the Constitution. I mean, that's the key. I mean, we got to take our chains with us. You know, to use a law enforcement metaphor, I got to take my handcuffs with me to Congress. So support me, vote for me, send a sheriff to Congress, and I promise you, I'll take along my own set of handcuffs.